All right, hello everyone. Welcome to the very first episode of the iGamingGoldRush. I'm Garrett Groff. I'm the head of account services at Reach Creator, and tonight I'm joined by Steve Brownlee, director of services at Reach Creator, and the infamous John Wright from StatsDrone. Say hello, guys.
Hey
Hello,
everyone.
and thanks for having me.
No, thanks for
Yes,
coming on, John.
yes, absolute pleasure to have you on. Um, I'm not sure anybody watching has any idea what this is supposed to be about. It's been not like a secret, but not well advertised yet. But the whole purpose of the iGaming Gold Rush is mainly for affiliates working in the SEO space. That I'm never going to be one to say SEO is dead, but it's definitely not getting easier. I'll say. What's coming to America is an opportunity for affiliates, anybody doing SEO in general, to get on a bandwagon where the gold rush is coming. State by state, things are getting legalized. New operators are coming in. There is an article topic coming up. What's going to maybe happen at the federal level. Might have lost Steve there for a minute, but regardless, um, it's just going to keep getting harder for affiliates. So why not get in on the ground level-ish of something that's going to be able to put money in your pocket? It's going to be fun, new, and exciting, and it's going to be a huge industry. You don't want to miss out on getting on it. And as future episodes come on, we're going to be featuring guests that have, not just experience, but how do I get started in the industry? How do I solve this problem here and that problem there? And we're going to kind of take it like that. If you're already not in the Facebook group, just search for iGaming Gold Rush. Right now, it is a private group. At the beginning, I didn't want just tons of members to get in there before we started publishing content, but we're just about to start dumping content in on a daily basis. Also, don't miss out on the weekly happy hours or Tuesday nights, 6 p.m. East Central Time in America. Hop in for half an hour, 45 minutes, have a drink, catch up, just bullshit, whatever's going on. Outside of that, the LinkedIn group just got set up. Don't think there's really anybody in it yet, but we're going to start pushing content in there as well. So make sure you find the iGaming Gold Rush on LinkedIn. That should be public. You just have to request to join. We'll let you in. Not a big deal. Um, the whole point of the groups is to help you get started in the industry, whether you're a beginner, a novice, expert. There's going to be everywhere from all walks of life. It's going to be a good thing, and like I said, there's going to be tons of money up for grabs. So get started early. Without further ado, our special guest here, John Wright. How you doing?
Doing pretty good. I'm actually taking a week off in Florida, but yeah, jumping on things like this, it's never really feels like work. It's kind of weird where it's your work is either you like it or you don't, and I think the iGaming space has been so dynamic. It's I just keep talking to a lot of people that have corporate jobs and they don't understand the rate at which we can kind of work in an environment. I mean, like look at this. I can just like be on the road and set up my laptop and you can kind of do work or record something and it's dynamic. So things move very fast, and yeah, there's definitely a big opportunity here. And as much as you're right in SEO is getting tougher, I mean there's just so many markets. I don't see SEO dying, and I don't see it dying in iGaming, and I don't believe that it's always going to be too late.
For sure. If you don't mind me asking, how long have you been in the industry, and what's kind of like a brief rundown of your experience? You don't have to go into super detail, but
Yeah, it's I guess I consider myself a dinosaur. I'm 21, 22 years in iGaming. The whole story was total accidental. I had a friend who was a professional gambler, and he started playing online casinos, basically bonus hunting, and then playing online poker, and then taking advantage of some sports betting picks and all that fun stuff. So I started doing that, and my intention was if it doesn't work out, I'm gonna burn a little bit extra on my credit card to add to the whole university debt, and you know what, I'll just get a real job and whatever, it's not a big deal. So it ended up working well. So that kind of changed everything. I mean, it gave me the opportunity to do something similar, like just literally take a laptop and go, I'm going to go to Europe and spend some time there and just travel. And lucky was able to work. And what I realized is like, okay, for just basic bonus hunting or even professional gambling, if these operators can afford to pay you money, what's funneling this, what's supporting this? And behind it is a lot of players, and you naturally get exposed to the marketing side of it. And that comes with the territory of going, well, who are these affiliate websites? And how do they get their traffic? And then you start finding communities like GPWA where it's people are like, hey, I want to get into this, and how do you get started? And what is SEO? So my experience is all over the place where I started off as a player, then I became an affiliate manager and helped set up some new online casinos. Got a lot of operator experience, but that gave me even more exposure to the affiliate marketing side. Like, for example, you're an affiliate manager and you're working with affiliates, and you basically watch them grow. You do this for a couple of years, you see what they do, how they're successful, what works, and the common theme for most of them has always been SEO. It's anyone who's really good at SEO or gets really detailed with SEO, they naturally seem to start outperforming. And in the last 12 years, there's just been weird cycles of, some of these SEO people just getting stronger, acquiring more sites, or you're seeing new people that don't have a lot of experience, but SEO becomes their strength. And I'm going to pretty much say that, SEO isn't really going to die, but I think it's a skill that everyone should pay attention to, because if you're a good SEO, what you're going to do is you're going to be someone who experiments. You're going to see what works, what doesn't work. And when it does work, you're going to look at your own analytics data and go, where's my sales coming from? Where's my traffic coming from? And what I believe to be true about a lot of SEOs is I think they are the pioneers of a lot of affiliate marketing where we're kind of transitioning into a space where data is becoming more important. And what's Google Analytics? It's data feedback, and it's not that Google Analytics does the work for you. You, as the analyst, have to look at the reports and go, what am I looking at, and can I learn from it? And a really good SEO is going to look at this and go, I see an opportunity, or I know exactly what to do to improve my website. So I do believe the affiliate marketing space is going to change. It's not going to be purely SEO, but those concepts of SEO are so important. Like if you're going to do video, it's like, well, what are we talking about? Are we talking about Twitch, or are we talking about YouTube? And the whole search component is never going to disappear. Like people are always looking for stuff. And,
That's
I think
what I was going to ask you to kind of follow on to that thought, just thinking about it while you were talking. You're talking about, SEO can't die, but people are going to move to other things. But it seems like Google's always been the most welcoming of having, gambling websites present in the SERPs. There's very rarely any regional restrictions or blocking, or, like all these crypto casinos that are technically banned in the UK. I can just Google for them and they show up. They will occasionally block some things. Like I think they started blocking when people were trying to search for, non-GameStop casinos to avoid the GameStop bans that people had put on themselves and stuff. But as a general rule, they're pretty welcoming. Whereas, Twitch went huge for a while with all the casinos, like Stake were paying for, loads of streamers, and other crypto casinos too, obviously, but they were the most famous, weren't they? And then obviously it got shut down there or heavily restricted. YouTube now, there's all these rules about what casinos you can play on depending on what jurisdiction you're in. It seems like branching out is very difficult. I mean, how do you see affiliates branching out in ways that aren't quickly shut down? Do you see any opportunities for them, or do you think they're just going to keep getting battered back to Google after brief periods of success on other platforms?
Yeah, that's a good question. I mean, that's like opening up a can of worms of going, okay, how do I tackle, this to answer it? That's the catch-22 about relying on any type of platform. Like you as an affiliate building a website, you're reliant on Google not, deranking you or taking you off. No different than being on Twitch and YouTube. It's you're taking a risk, and it's really difficult to say, how am I going to own my own data, like own your own players? And I think the ways you want to look at things a little differently is going, well, last 20 years, like we've been in an age of exchange of information. Like it's basically search. I'm creating content, and the content helps you, get discovered. And I think, I like using cryptocurrency as a perfect analogy where, 20 years ago with Google, exchange of information. Now we're in the age of exchange of value. Like the fact that you can actually transfer large amounts of money in a short period of time with almost no oversight and a fraction of the cost. That's very powerful. So what does that
cool, isn't it?
What does that concept look like in affiliate marketing? Well, a perfect example, it's like, let me create an app that, does amazing things for giving you sports betting picks. It's not the standard content. And it goes without saying, you want to think about affiliate sites going, can I create something of value that's people are going to naturally want to link to, or they're going to talk about in social media? And that's probably a bigger challenge, because I think with what a lot of affiliates do day in, day out, whether it's iGaming or any other industry, it's the same problem. It's going, I see this big site and I'm going to try to copy it. I'm going to do a fraction of the work, and I'm really pissed off that I don't have my 10 grand in the bank. It's really difficult to build something. And if you start looking at all these exchange of value concepts, whether it's Brian Christopher, with his YouTube videos, he started off when the money wasn't there, but he just kept going. And what has he got? He's got a platform, he's got live followers, he's got entire history of YouTube videos, and it's there's just so many different things. Like
I think the Plaza downtown Vegas has a whole Brian Christopher slot section with like custom slot machine.
Yeah, I mean, that guy is totally leveled up, and he's a perfect example of someone that said, let's do streaming. Let's do streaming when people kind of like, like, who wants to do this? And we've obviously seen a massive transition of audio and video. I mean, podcasts are getting probably a little excessive at this point, but I still think there's always going to be a demand for, if you can't figure out what to do, it's like, go, do slot reviews, but do it on video and don't do it as content, because, well, I'm not going to say don't do content, but it's when there's so much competition for that same content, you're being flooded with, a lot of things. And it's like, you really need to think about, why did things work 10 years ago? Well, it worked because there was less competition, and what are you going to search for? You're going to search for a name of a casino and the keyword bonus, and maybe exclusive. It's like, I'm looking for exclusive offers. Like, that's a standard value proposition, but that value proposition is super saturated, and it's like, well, what's behind it? And if you start looking at a lot of these affiliate sites and groups that are starting to grow, it's not a single site that's behind them. It's, you start finding really interesting things like like Betting Hero, for example, like just a really cool app, and you start looking at what they do and how they attract attention, and it's almost like they're building this organic interest by being a cool concept that's just not another affiliate site, which we kind of know we don't need anymore.
True.
Oh, that makes sense.
Very much so. Yeah, always staying ahead of the game.
And it's not easy, because when you want to stay ahead of the game, when you look at all those examples, it's a lot of work went into it. And it's not just that, it's work where people are like, I'm going to work and I don't know when the ROI is going to happen. But when it does happen, it looks like the smartest play. It looks like it was obvious, but it never was, I think.
Right. But when you first start trying to get ahead of the game, you're almost looking into a crystal ball, I always think, because you don't know the future, and you're kind of betting on this direction I'm taking is going to work. And yeah, just like you said, a year from now, you look back on it and you're like, oh yeah, that was good. But at the time, who knows?
Yeah, we're all impatient, naturally.
One of the better known UK like slot review channels, he was grinding away for, I don't know how long, years, just doing a bonus hunt every single day, putting £1,000 at risk, signing up a handful of players each month, so not covering his costs at all, like all of his time. And he's finally got one of the big crypto casino deals, so that's him finally, but it's taken him years of grinding players, showing that he's got a big enough audience before someone would be like, okay, yeah, we can start giving you some serious money now. You're big enough now. I mean, you've got to have some faith to put in that kind of work on YouTube, because like you said, YouTube could have just been like, okay, no, we're not doing this anymore the way Twitch did. You're 3 years into a 5-year project and you're back to zero again. It's pretty intense on some of these platforms.
And in a perfect world, it's like when you're creating all this stuff that kind of like grows over time, they become assets, and that's an interesting part of the business. M&A, mergers and acquisitions. It's when you've got something interesting and it's growing, you're going to get offers to say, hey, would you be interested in selling it? So, it's make your monthly money and revenue and keep it growing. And you've always got an amazing exit plan behind you. Like, think about trying to build, or not build, but, launch a restaurant. Like, that's great if you're passionate about food, but I mean, trying to sell a restaurant, that's a pretty difficult proposition. And, imagine you've got a website that you can just sell, and the transition of basically saying, okay, here's the contract, and maybe you have 1 month of extra work, and then you're done. It's that's a pretty sweet deal. And I think we all know a lot of people that have sold sites for a lot of money. I think the biggest example was Catena Media, basically spending probably too much money back in the day. But I run into a lot of people, they sold for 5 million, 3 million, 10 million, 50 million, and some of the numbers become a bit ridiculous. But I mean, even selling a site and getting a few $100,000, that's a pretty sweet deal. I mean, there's almost a house.
Exactly. Unless you live where I live in the middle of nowhere.
Well, it depends. Yeah, Canada, it's getting a little bit expensive, but
Yeah,
there's always somewhere cheaper in the world.
right, right. Oh, anyway, so Stats Drone. I know about it, Steve knows about it, but I bet you can explain it way better to the viewers how it can help affiliates um, manage their affiliate networks and all that stuff, not get ripped off. I'll let you take the floor on this.
Yeah, it's I've probably got better at explaining it from having to pitch to investors to help us grow and scale. So yeah, it's all about marketing messages and going, okay, what is it that you guys do? So my common pitch to investors is kind of like the QuickBooks for affiliate marketers. Like, we help you aggregate all your affiliate data. It's not your banking data, but at the end of the day, how much money you make is as close to banking as you can get. So the real thing that we solve as a pain point is the fact that, if you are an affiliate, you might have 10, 20, 50, 100, or hundreds of affiliate programs. So if you want to know how much money you made today, that's a lot of work of just like, you literally got to spend minutes logging into each account. And
Yep.
if you've got the time, which I think is kind of crazy, not everyone has the time to put that data in Excel. You're literally doing manual
No.
data entry. So we're saving that pain point of just helping you get that data. But where I got interested in wanting to work on this project was, I believe that there's an ability to take that same data and analyze it. And working as an affiliate manager, I realize there's a lot of affiliates that don't pay attention to core KPIs. Like, they might chase a higher rev share deal at the expense of a brand or a casino or an offer that's converting at a higher rate or delivering a higher earnings per click. So I like to focus on those data points and say, how can we build these essential services that it's not just saving you time, but how can we help you optimize your campaigns? Where do you know where to send more of your traffic on your own site? Can you re-rank your offers based on performance? And I believe this is the future of the space, where I think at some point this is going to be more automated. I think affiliate networks are going to have some of these tools kind of natively built in. And if you don't want to work in the affiliate network and you want to manage all your deals, this is basically the next thing around the corner. We're working on it, and kind of excited about it, where for me to kind of work on this business, I said I need to focus on one thing, not two. Like, we used our affiliate sites to bankroll the software, but now we're basically focusing on just the software. So my job is to talk to affiliates. And what I like about where we are now is that, I used to do affiliate coaching. So it's my job is to always stay connected with affiliates and go, what's working and where can we help?
Gotcha. If there was, one reason all on its own, what would be the biggest reason or the most important feature for, whether I'm just starting out in the iGaming space or I'm a seasoned affiliate, what's the biggest feature I should be looking for in Stats Drone that's like a no-brainer, I need to buy it?
Yeah. Oh, that's a tough one. It's more meant for people that have some sort of traffic. So
Okay.
yeah, it'll help if you're just getting started. Probably the best way we can help someone is to say, well, if you are getting started, which brand should we work with? So I've met a lot of SEOs that want to get into the space, and they're kind of paralyzed and going, where do I get started? Like, where should I send traffic to?
Overwhelming. Yeah.
Who can I trust? And there's ways of kind of figuring that one out. You can reverse engineer it by going to the highest ranking sites and go, who are they promoting? But at the end of the day, it's once you have enough data and you've got your, not just your clicks, but your revenue earned, it's all about looking at your KPIs and staying on top of them. No different than you would with Google Analytics. Like, if you've got revenue kind of hopping along, like you're making, let's say, hundreds or thousands of dollars per day, and that drops, you're in full panic mode. No different than when Google says, hey, you're not going to be ranked on the first page anymore for this keyword. Like, once you lose that, you got to panic and go, if it's valuable to you, if there's a way of getting it back, it's important. And I know a lot of people that are using our tools or competitor tools where sometimes that data is coming through first in the revenue, then they go straight to SEO and go, what's changed? And sometimes you can be very misled, where your traffic might not have changed, but your rankings have changed. And you have to, once again, go into your SEO reports and go, well, what was behind it? And what could be behind situations like this is that maybe your traffic has increased, but the keyword that was delivering the most money is actually dropped. And you kind of want to take both of these tools and look at the data, and you can't just rely on SEO data. Like, I was talking to an affiliate earlier this week, same situation. our revenue dropped, but our traffic increased. What happened? It's you start with the revenue, but then you go straight into your Google Analytics, and you're like, all right, let's start digging here, and let's try to get some answers.
Gotcha. Makes total sense. Yeah, it is funny. I was talking to someone unrelated industry, like old clients of ours. I had noticed their traffic had skyrocketed. They went from like 100,000 hits a month to 500,000. And I'm hitting him up for link building, and he's like, "Yeah, man, Garrett, we got tons of traffic, but guess what? It's still all to the wrong pages. We're not making any money."
Damn.
And but yeah, it's really taking a granular approach and not just being, "Oh, I got tons of traffic, I must be making money." It's like, okay, I got tons of traffic that makes me no money. Sweet. It's
That's the most painful, and there's
yeah,
plenty of sites that have done that. I've run into sites where even when they started off going, okay, I want to get in sports betting, and I've got a sports site, and like, I had one affiliate I coached, and basically they were talking about like, not odds of games, but matchups for, Premier League and, football in the UK. And basically, the thing that they changed was they started focusing on the odds of the match. So the traffic dropped substantially, but the revenue went up, pretty
okay,
significantly. It was kind of like a total inverse relationship. And, that might sound obvious to us, but sometimes, you kind of want to have some sort of network of people that you can say, hey guys, here's my site. Here's what's happening. And it really helps. And we already know this to be true. It really helps to have someone else kind of look at it from a different angle. Go, why don't you try this? Or, hey, this website over here does this, and what's the difference? And
yeah, absolutely. Yeah, well, cool. It sounds like you guys have a lot of time and a ton of effort into this stats drone tool. It really does sound amazing. I wish I had a use for it myself, but we're not doing any gambling affiliate sites at the moment. But the future could change. Who
yeah,
knows? Um, but for those of you that are watching or listening or however you're getting a hold of this podcast, make sure to at least check out Stats Drone. Give it a try if you're already in the industry. Um, Everyone I've talked to that's using it loves it. It's going to be a great addition to your tool set and just simplify your life and hopefully make you some more money along the way too. One last thing we were kind of going to highlight, I think we discussed, was link building and SEO and the whole iGaming space. These days, Steve and I have been doing link building a very long time. The industry has changed. It seems to be changing more rapidly than before, in my opinion. And a lot of our business is paid links. A lot of people are afraid to do paid links because I'm just going to venture a guess the vendors they work with are terrible. I won't name any, but we have a very strict Q&A process where everything pretty much goes through me, and if there is a slip, I go too fast when the team member goes too fast or a customer notices it. There's no questions asked. We replace it. This shouldn't have happened. The last thing we want to do is be selling crappy links that could damage the site. But there are other agencies outside of us that do offer high quality paid links, and I thought we might touch on that and how it works in the iGaming space. And I think, John, you had some commentary on how it can be a huge value to SEOs that might not be leveraging it properly and not taking their sites to their full potential.
yeah, it's the conversation kind of came up maybe indirectly where I've got a friend, and she made a post where she wasn't happy with a service from another SEO provider. So I won't name names, but I think that's one thing that really hurts part of the industry. It's catch-22. You have people being scared about going, who can I trust and how do I know they're going to deliver good value? And then you have other people that say link building is a sham. It never did anything for me, or they don't believe in it. And I'm kind of the thought where it's like, yeah, in a perfect world, we'd love to build natural links where you make a website that's so amazing that everyone just links to it and they can't help themselves. That's not easy to do. And in running my own affiliate sites, like we all use the same SEO tools. It's like you go to Ahrefs and go, okay, let me take all these top ranking websites and let's look at the link profiles. Like who is linking to them? And then when you see all the links, I mean, you contact those sites and go, hey, can I get the same link? And I'm going to save you a lot of time. You're going to get propositioned to say, yeah, you can get that link on another page, and here's the cost. It's almost always a cost. I think when people try to do white hat link building and go into iGaming, they're hopeful that they can get free links. And what they discover is that things have changed. Like, just imagine it this way. you've got the sports website and someone contacts you and says, hey, great site. Well, it's kind of standard, you know, it's like, hello, dear,
Yeah.
amazing website. It's copy and paste, but you don't care. But they offer you money. Like, you're like, wait a minute, I was going to do this for free, but now
Why
you're
wouldn't
giving
I
me
take the money?
$100 or $200.
Yeah.
So the next person that comes along, they're hoping it's free, but it's like, no, I've just been paid by one person. And what happens is it starts to become a snowball effect. And when you start charging, you know, money for links, it's kind of like, you know that there's money there, and you kind of know that there's an inherent reason, like they wouldn't be buying these if it wasn't worth something to them.
Right.
I think it's just almost impossible finding you know, sites that rank without, you know, paying for links. There's very few that actually do it naturally and organically, but it's extremely rare. And if you're going to get started in link building, it's
if you look in any niche at like the top 10 sites, like whether it's finance, gambling, healthcare, you find there's the same 1,000, 10,000 sites that, you know, everyone buys their links on, and they show up every single industry, every single niche in the top sites. Like at some point their SEO team has gotten a bit, you know, they've been struggling, they've not been hitting target, and they've bought some links. I mean, because the big challenge too is, of course, clients are often misguided in what page they want the links to. So like if you're a gambling business, you can't expect, if you want unpaid links, someone to link to your bet boost Man United versus Liverpool this Sunday page 3 days before the game for free. It's just not going to happen. You know, they're going to take a couple of weeks to decide, and then you don't want the link anymore, even if they would link to that page for free, which they won't. So it's convincing people to be creative if they want to get natural links. I mean, we did a campaign ages ago with one of the big UK bookmakers, and it was a campaign around their responsible gaming press campaign, and they were really out there on it. I mean, to the point of where, you know, like legal had to get everything signed off because they were worried that they might go too far and accidentally volunteer to do something that they didn't want to do. But that worked really well. And we had an online pharmacy in the Viagra space, and one of our most successful campaigns was they did this huge link bait about why, and it was a little bit offensive, which is why it got some traction, but loads of doctors linked to it from like their practice websites and stuff. And it was just this thing about how most 55-year-old men on Viagra are just too fat and lazy, and what they should do is fix their diet and stop taking Viagra. And this is coming from a Viagra pharmacy, so the doctors kind of found it quite funny and linked to it. You know, look, guys, I've been tweeting about this. You know, they'd be like, I've been tweeting about this for ages. You guys need to come in and help me get you in shape. Look, even the Viagra retailers are telling you that you shouldn't be on Viagra. Like, you need to get yourself. So I mean, that worked really well. But if you're expecting to get free links with just some to whatever page you want, it's just not going to happen in any niche now, let alone gambling.
But in saying that as well, it's like, not to scare off everyone, it's like, how do you get started in affiliate marketing in iGaming with almost no budget? I mean, you could technically start with zero. Now, what does zero look like? You're probably going to be on Twitch or YouTube, and that's you don't really need any money to get started other than a computer, phone, and internet. But, you know, it's a scary proposition when people think, I need to build links to get started. And I believe that to be mostly true, but I think there's always a way around it, and that's where you have to get creative and go, how can I get links or earn links, or where can I maybe find free links or do something? So
well,
my
quick,
they
can come on the Statstone podcast, can't they, for a free link? Isn't that
your
promo pitch?
That's one. But what I was going to say is try to create something where you can do something as a barter. Now, like the old school way was your standard link exchange. Like, I got my website over here, I'm going to link to you over here, but maybe create another entity that's going to have value to other people, that will capture their attention, and they're going to find you. Like, as soon as you start linking to 20 different websites, people are going to find that. And what's behind it, that's going to be your value proposition to not just create a link farm, but do something that makes sense, where it's a smart directory, and find a way to build links that's a little bit outside the box, so to speak. So that's not easy, but I think maybe the best way of looking at it is going, find examples outside of iGaming where this is done, and use those ideas as going, how can this be applied to our space? Like, you know, it's like you can, like, there's just a lot of different ways. It's like, you know, pick a topic, pick an angle, whether it's responsible gaming or, you know, talking about slot softwares, or, you know, it's like do interviews of, like, you know, like just create directories of like all the different, you know, slot streamers. You're going to get people that are going to be, hey, I've seen this. And it's like, well, how do you get listed there? link back to us.
Oh
Something.
yeah, I bet EgoBait would work with the slot streamers. Like if you were somewhat big, like I mean, you couldn't do it as a complete newbie, but like as someone as big as you guys, like StatsDrone, you could do our top 10 slot streamers of 2023, our top 10 roulette streamers of 2023. You know, you could do all of those EgoBaits, and the ones with websites would throw you in their press and mention section on their website like 100% of the time.
Yeah.
So you could definitely do EgoBait if you've got somewhat of a brand in the industry. I mean, back when we had a poker site, we used to interview all kinds of like poker players and just in these ridiculous comedy style interviews, and it was just, but they would link to it anyway. They just.
I like the name you have for it, ego bait. It's
that's what it's
my
called.
new
In
favorite
the
word.
building world, yeah, EgoBait. So anytime you're just trying to get people, you know, you're just getting people on, telling them that, and you know, one travel company in the UK did 1,000 prizes. They split the travel industry up into 100 different top tens, released them all on the same day, but wrote to all of these people saying, "Hey, you're in our top 10 for this."
Wow.
They got so many links. So I mean, you can be pretty crazy with EgoBait as long as you hide the fact that there's 99 other pages from everyone else. You should be okay.
I think probably the worst example of ego bait in iGaming is all the different awards. Like we used to have awards on our GAF website, and we just stopped because everyone's like, "Yeah, you're definitely selling the awards for money." I'm like, "No, we're definitely not doing that." You know, it kind of pissed me off, but yeah, there's just so many awards now. It's
Right.
And then of course to make it even more frustrating is I saw a LinkedIn post from Kyle Roof from Internet Marketing Gold, and he's like, "These are important things to do. Like on your about page, show some real people and show awards you've won." I'm like, no. Like now I gotta really win some awards to, you know, focus on our SEO game.
Well, I mean, awards always link to you.
Yeah.
You know, whenever you sponsor a trade show and they link to you from the website, you always get more traffic for about a month afterwards.
Yeah.
So I mean, that's not the worst thing to do but you have to have a valid reason. I mean, I guess most small affiliates aren't going to be sponsoring like one of the major conferences. So StatsDrone, it might make sense to be a name sponsor just to get a link on a website, but
yeah, and sometimes you can get those links without having to be a sponsor, but that's another topic.
Well, yeah, if you get interviewed or like do some content or speak,
yeah.
They're always looking for speakers on the B stages. Those B stages are hard to fill, the ones that the big sponsors aren't paying for. So
there's some stages that cost money.
There are, yeah, but they've still got to fill the B and C stages. So you get a link for your speaking then, don't you? So, well, at most conferences anyway.
Yeah.
Right on. Well, Steve, we had a couple of news items I think you were going to address, and then we can run through those quick and wrap up.
Yeah. I mean, I've got one new one it literally just flopped up on my phone before I came in. The BBC was reporting today that they're going to be restricting bet sizes in the UK, and there's going to be age restrictions on young gamblers as part of the responsible gambling thing. And I think that's why this gold rush is going to be so important to be in this first 5 to 10 years when the deregulation happens, because the lawmakers don't often think what they've done until later. And I know that sounds kind of cynical, and obviously we want player protection and all that kind of stuff, but we also don't want over regulation like the UK's got to, where everyone's just playing on crypto casinos illegally abroad anyway. Like, it hasn't reduced the problem gambling, it's just pushed billions of dollars in gambling overseas through over regulation. You know, we want to take advantage of this happy medium where the regulations are sensible and it's all getting started and there's actually an opportunity. So don't wait 10 years. You'll be cursing all these crazy new regulations coming in state by state. And, you know, we've lived through it. Garrett and I lived through it in poker. Don't make the mistake of waiting too long and start making your money just as the regulation starts. Get in now when it's a bit fresher. And
I guess,
piece of news,
that kind of runs right into this. Yeah, it kind of runs right into this first piece of news from the World Casino Directory, that Fanatics is starting to launch their own sports betting apps. In just 2 states, was it Ohio and Tennessee, I believe?
Ohio and Tennessee, yeah.
And
I mean, that's pretty big, because I mean especially Tennessee. I mean, with Nashville, I mean, that's like a real party city. Loads of people coming in and out of the city. It's got to be a big market for people just having a little.
Let's go there.
Yeah, I'll go.
Let's go. Yeah,
I have some Sky Miles to burn off. I guess these articles now I'll kind of mash into each other. The next article, and I'll put them in the comment section of the YouTube here when I get the video uploaded.
Yeah, I'll send the BBC one over for you
Um,
guys.
but as well, the Wabanaki nations, the tribals, they are getting the exclusive rights to the online gambling in Maine, apparently. And to me, my big follow-up question is, obviously, I'm not in touch with the federal regulators or anybody close to it, but it seems more to me like the feds are treating this a lot like they're treating marijuana per se, other types of stuff, where they're just saying, okay, states, do whatever you want. But it leads me to ask, isn't the feds aren't they gonna want their cut of the tax revenue at some point out of this?
I
Is
think
there
Yeah, I think they're getting their money regardless of what it looks like. I mean, I think from America as a whole, it's like I don't think the feds want to basically control everything. Like they've already made a lot of changes when it comes to marijuana and going, at the end of the day, there's been just so much disruption with COVID where everyone's like, we now need this extra revenue. And at the end of the day, it's if you're not going to kind of help control and regulate some of these things, it either becomes self-regulated or you basically open up the black market. So I think at the end of the day, it's like you look at what's happened in the United Kingdom. It's like, do you not want what's already there? There's so many examples of what regulation looks like and how it can be done. I'm not saying the UK is perfect, but I mean, every time a new market opens up and they do things a little differently, we're just loaded with the global case studies of like how to do it right and how to do it very wrong. And the more wrong you make it, you just keep opening up that black market. And I think there's just so much money leaving America that they want to
right?
make sure that they do it in a way that has that optimal balance of I still believe this is still mostly protecting players at the end of the
Yeah.
day. And
Well, that was my point. I mean, I'm not criticizing the UK government for trying to have player protection, but if you protect the players to the point where, like, it's literally not fun to play slots online in the UK now. There's no auto spins, so you have to keep clicking. And I know you can get like some dodgy software that might actually be malware that you install on your computer and it steals your bank account. But unless you want to install some guy's dodgy auto clicker software or something, you're supposed to sit there pushing the button like over. I mean, who's going to want to play like that? And then the limits get brought down, so people who were like, okay, well, I'll just bet a bit higher because then at least each click's a bit exciting. Well, they're not allowed to do that anymore. Where are they going to go?
they're
They
going
want to
to
gamble.
search
Where are
for
they
the
going
wrong
to go?
keywords. It's going to be the whole self-exclusion. It's like let's find non-GameStop casinos. And in Australia, they've got their own version of it. It's you really open up bad habits and just a lot of bad things.
And you've only got to look at the trust pilot of some of these crypto casinos to realize that they're just a one-way transfer of cryptocurrency. No matter what happens on your, you think you've won, you don't get to cash out. You
Oh,
think
really?
you've lost, obviously you don't get to cash out.
It's obvious the terms and conditions like, oh, wait a minute. Sorry, we weren't supposed to accept you in this jurisdiction. So here's your deposit back. No win.
Oh, I've heard. Oh, they won't give you a deposit back if you're not if you're from a non-allowed jurisdiction and they catch you, they're allowed to just keep your money.
Yeah.
That's always in their terms and conditions.
It's kind of like half the world.
Yeah, and so they advertise. They get YouTubers based in jurisdictions where they're not allowed to play on their site with house money a lot of the time. These casinos, so as to get, say, UK players as an example, or Canadian players, or a lot of the time Australian players, because they're banned from loads of places, aren't they? They try and get them onto the site, and then they know most of them are just going to lose, and the few that win, they just don't pay them out, or they pay out the ones that win a small amount. If you win a big amount, then suddenly they're like, oh, we think you might be Australian, you're not getting your money. And
exactly.
you're pushed. So all the government does when it over-regulates is transfer money to criminals, and who knows what they're doing with it. Like, regulation has to be balanced. You have to protect the players, but not so much that they'd rather deal with criminals than the real casinos. It just doesn't make sense to go the way the UK is going at the minute. It's kind of depressing that you can't even. I mean, you can tell from my T-shirt. I like to gamble, but I haven't I haven't online gambled in the UK since any of these new regulations started creeping in, and they've added like 7 more since then. I can't even imagine what it's like to try and have a quick £50 of fun now in the UK. You'd be there 3 hours later pushing a button still, nothing. It's just no point. So I wouldn't. I haven't. I mean, I'm obviously not enough of a degenerate, you know, just keeping my gambling to Vegas. I should just suffer through, shouldn't I, and just keep going anyway. But it's not what anyone's doing. The people that really want to gamble, they're on stake.com, I assume, or
I
all of
wouldn't have a
these ones
clue.
that need to watch
But
more. Need to watch more Twitch. Watch all these people like pretending they're doing $100,000 bonus buys, and then they totally are like they don't care, and it's like 1.3 mil, just another day, boys. See you tomorrow.
yeah,
Like what?
yeah, sounds super legit to me.
Yeah, it's
Oh
super
boy.
legit. And I'm not saying stake.com is responsible for any of that. I'm just they're the one I know lots of people go to. I'm not saying they're the ones that are doing the bad promotion.
You're right.
There's loads of them out there.
Not a sponsor here.
Yeah, not a sponsor. Yeah, please don't
Yeah.
think I'm sponsoring them. I'm definitely not allowed to be sponsored by them in the UK. So neither a sponsor nor a critic. They're just very famous and big in a crypto casino.
Fair enough. Fair enough. Well, all right, guys. Is there anything else you wanted to cover really quickly on this first episode, or?
No, it's been a good
No?
call. I've
All
enjoyed
right,
chatting
yeah.
to John as always.
I'm waiting for beer o'clock.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, sorry for starting early, guys, but it's like 10 p.m. here now. I couldn't wait till after
Yeah,
the call. And I
it
like to have my
is.
evening glass of wine before bed.
It's Friday.
Yep.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, well, yeah, I think that was a great first start to the episode. If you're an affiliate already working in the space, or you're just getting started, make sure to check out the iGaming Gold Rush on both the Facebook group. Search for it, request to be a member. I'll make sure you get put in because it is a private group. Find us on LinkedIn, the iGaming Gold Rush. I think it's the same process. You have to be, you have to invite yourself or whatever the term is, but we'll make sure you get in there.
Hit John up for a free interview and a free link on his,
There you go.
show.
Yeah, and this
And
video
more
is gonna.
importantly, speak to John because he'll help you out a lot. He knows everyone at the conferences and what's going on. So a chat with John, I think, is gold for new affiliates and people that haven't spoken to him.
Gold,
So
pun intended.
Yes.
Literally.
And this video is being uploaded to YouTube as soon as I'm done editing it. So be sure to subscribe, like it, share it, all the normal stuff. Hit the little bell icon so you don't miss the upcoming episodes. We should be putting out one episode a week, hopefully. Have some really cool guests lined up from some big guys from around the iGaming market in Europe. So that should be fun to get their perspective on how everything's moving to America, and that'll be fun. So thanks again, John.
Thank
Really
you for having
appreciate,
me.
yeah, really appreciate having on the first episode. And for anyone needing link building services, reach out to Reach Creator. And until then, take it easy. Have a great weekend, guys.
Have a good weekend.
Have a great weekend.
Bye bye.